Try not to panic. Everyone calm down. Just everyone calm down. Calm down. Stock market is in free fall right now. Okay. It's down right now, currently 1,300. There's some reports saying it's down 1,500. Okay. 1,500 points. We are in some very scary times here. Okay. And for everyone that's right now living on a fixed income, on Social Security disability, IRAs, all this is the time where we got to wonder just what is going on, and things aren't going well because there is a struggle in the global economy. And so before we talk about current events, let's talk about yesterday's news. So Donald Trump was talked about the tariffs that have put us in the back seat. So first, this is the big red screen that has caused everyone to say, call your mother. Call your mother. Everything's kind of in the red. Now, yes, there's some green. Okay, whatever. There's some neutral gray. But when I look at this and see the economy falling apart, I'm just reminded, who's going to bail out these corporations and banks? I mean, I see JP Morgan. I see MasterCard. I see Meta. I see Google. I see Amazon. Oh, no, Costco, not you. Not you, Costco. Oh, I'm seeing Tesla. Boy, oh boy, folks, y'all better be. Hey, listen. You know those Walmart greeters? You know, you're going to see more senior citizens become Walmart greeters, and I don't say this because it's like, oh, what? That's a grim, dark joke. No, I see it becoming reality. You know, there are stories in which you have people dying at their job. You know, here's how dystopian the world's going to be. Like, as soon as an employee, no matter what their age is, if let's say they just pass away, there's going to be an exoskeleton that's going to wrap around them, and they'll still be moving around doing the labor, right? So here's what's been talked about. Trump yesterday talking about the market crash following his tariffs on nearly the entire world. I am fearful of the future.
Ready for some questions?
Anybody want to buy one? Okay, let's go.
First, we'd love to get your reaction, sir, to what's going on in the financial markets today.
Well, I mean, it's to be expected. This is a patient that was very sick. We really inherited a terrible economy, as you know, with a lot of problems, including loss of manufacturing and plants closed up all over the country. You know, we've lost 90,000 plants since NAFTA, if you think of that. 90,000. It's not even believable. And about 6 million jobs. And so it was a sick patient. It went through an operation on Liberation Day. And it's going to be a booming country. A very booming country. It's going to be amazing, actually. And we see it because we have trillions of dollars committed to come in. Trillions.
Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. Now, of course, let's go ahead and pull up this video here, too. Once again, shout out to Hotspot.
On your earlier comment about TikTok, you said that the Chinese might be willing to agree to approve that sale in exchange for tariff relief. Is that something that you've floated to them or you've heard from them? Or
no, I'm just using that as an example. Okay. Let's say we had a problem with TikTok, and let's say China wasn't going to approve. We could use tariffs in order to get it approved. You know,
the deadline is
you give them
Saturday.
something in return.
What's the update on the deal negotiations?
We're very close to a deal with a very good group of people for TikTok.
Larry Ellison, or
is it multiple investors?
Multiple.
And then did the last minute bids kind of throw things into disarray for you, or do you have your strategy completely locked up on who's going to?
Which last minute?
On acquiring TikTok.
No, I think that China maybe will call and say, well, we're upset with the tariffs, and maybe they want to get something a little bit in order to get TikTok approved. Who knows?
Is there plans underway to speak to Xi?
I have no knowledge of that, but that's the kind of thing.
On Israel, can you give us any?
Now, I want to pull up another thing here, too, because I want to give a huge shout out to good friend of the show, Nico House, because he did a great breakdown. Once again, shout out to Hotspot. I know Nick and Nico House, hold on. Right now, we just lost audio, so let me stop sharing. And once again, let me reshare. Apologies for that. Shout out to Hotspot and Nico House and Nick from RBN. I mean, clearly, it's very clear that we are in some troubled times right now, my lovelies. Scary times.
Today is the day that Trump has announced that he is putting tariffs on damn near half the world, or otherwise hereby to be referred to as Liberation Day. Although personally, I wouldn't call a 1,300 point drop in the stock market on the day you announce these tariffs financially liberating. So Trump introduced what he has called reciprocal tariffs on many countries around the world. So Trump's team put together this formula, which was then used to determine the tariffs that were put on all of these nations. So as you can see, China is as high as 54%. And then you have the base amount, which is 10% for countries like the UK. Now, before we get into the potential positive and negatives of these tariffs, I need y'all to understand something. The operative word here is supposed to be reciprocal tariffs, which effectively would mean that we are engaging in the same policy, more or less, that you are engaging in regarding our exports into your country. But the problem with that is, even though Trump said that these are reciprocal tariffs, that is not the math nor the logic that he used to justify the tariffs and the percentages that he put on these nations. For example, for the very first time since he's become president, Israel was shocked by a move that Donald Trump made, because predicting these tariffs, Israel removed all other tariffs and duties from the United States, expecting the policy to be reciprocated. However, when Trump made the announcements of these new tariffs, Israel was still slapped with a 17% tariff on their goods. But Canada and Mexico, who were the initial targets of U.S. tariffs, up to 25%, are actually being exempt from these round of tariffs. So what's really going on here? Because it's not really about reciprocity, clearly. It's not about historical allyship. And for once, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it isn't even about protecting or bolstering Israel. This isn't actually about reciprocity. It's actually about trade surplus. And to explain it in the simplest way possible, Trump feels that too many countries are making too much money off of us, and we aren't making enough money off of them. That is the best and simplest way to explain it. Because just take China, for example. If we actually engage in straight up dollar for dollar reciprocity, China would still actually have the upper hand, because at the moment we have a high trade deficit with China, whereas they have a high trade surplus with the United States. Now, here's the thing. Trump is to some degree correct. Other countries have profited at the expense of industries within the United States.
How that happened? You could blame, especially two people. Obviously, you could blame all the previous presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan, Bush Sr., but there's two in particular that stand out. The jackasses. I'm looking at you, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, because if voters, because here's the thing, Republican politicians, they love to paint Bill Clinton and Obama as communist, socialist, Marxist, Leninists, and I'm like, oh my God, no, way to trick people. I mean, they implemented policies that I'm pretty sure the Republican counterparts like Reagan, Bush Sr., and Bush Jr. be foaming at the mouth like, oh, I wish I could have done that. I mean, after all, Bill Clinton got rid of Glass-Steagall, and what did Barack Obama do about the 2008 recession? Remember when all those people caused that 2008 economic collapse were held accountable by the Obama administration, and Biden said, hey, listen, Jack, you're going to be held accountable. Yeah, well, how'd that work out for all of us? How'd that work out for us? So when we asked Obama and his administration, hey, what are you going to do to help us? Here's what they said.
And here's what I think about it.
That's what happened. That's what happened. So yeah, Trump is correct. Yeah, United States has been screwed over thanks to our politicians.
Because of policies like NAFTA. However, when you are making a decision like this, a sweeping decision that could affect the world's economy, you might want to check the math and the potential consequences first. Because, for example, the EU has already announced that they have a quote unquote strong plan to retaliate on Trump's tariffs if he does not negotiate and alleviate some of them. Then there's the reality that the United States is not the only financial superpower in the world. What happens when China comes in and fills the void that Donald Trump just left open? As much as Trump says that this is going to somehow boost industries within the United States, my question would be, don't you think it would have been a great idea to start investing in those industries that you claim are going to be boosted before you announce sweeping tariffs to piss everybody off and encourage them to look elsewhere in order to take care of their own economies? Not to mention, Trump, if you actually cared that much about the working class, then you probably would have thought about that before introducing that tax cut to the rich that introduced 1.9 trillion.
I got some breaking news. Listen. Later today, I got to call my mom because there's some scary things happening, and we're all dealing with trauma in one form or another. And I want to just share this screen right here. This is from Unusual Whales 12 minutes ago. 12 minutes ago. Jesus, S&P 500 down 5%. Nasdaq 100 is down 5.4%. This is all in the red, baby. It's all in the red. By the way, I'm crypto people. Listen, crypto people. Everything's gonna be fine.
$1 billion to the deficit over 10 years, because when you do the math, if all of this tariff stuff works out perfectly, it basically only covers the deficit that the Trump administration helped build because of those tax cuts. But like I said, with no new investments in the industries that are supposed to be helped by these tariffs. So is this a controlled demolition of the US economy? Did Trump realize at some point that the factors controlling the outcome of the US economy internationally are so much so out of his hands, more so than he even realized, that he needs to create an excuse to justify the economy that is doomed to fail in the US, claiming that he's just taking a short-term hit for a long-term gain? Think about it. The peace deal between Russia and Ukraine is slipping through his fingers as we speak. The minerals deal, the rare earth minerals deal with Ukraine, which was primarily based on the lithium deposits that were untapped in the country, and we don't think that that's going through anytime soon either. The world is turning towards electric vehicles, and Tesla is getting beat by BYD, which is based out of China, and China is winning the lithium war. And Europe's economy is all over the place, largely because NATO can exert control over the world's economies like they used to in the global south. And we all know US currency is based on the sovereignty brought about by the petrodollar, but the petrodollar won't mean all that much if the world is reliant principally on EVs and lithium, and of course other forms of alternative energy. And the US might still be a powerful nation, but they are not powerful enough by themselves anymore to control all of those different outcomes to the degree that they would have been able to in years past. There are a lot of working theories out there right now, but comment below as to how you believe these tariffs will work out.
Yeah, and here's how the tariffs are working out right now. I just want to pull this up here again one more time for all the lovely people tuning in. This is what we're looking at here. The petrodollar is on life support. We are looking at full-on economic disaster. I want to pull this article up from RT just to trigger the libs. But even Michael Bloomberg, U.S. is heading for a fiscal breakdown, and Congress should take urgent measures to restore fiscal control instead of eyeing more borrowing. Billionaire Michael Bloomberg believes the former New York mayor warned about the impending collapse on Tuesday in the media outlet he established. He reflected on the latest Congressional Budget Office projections that indicate the U.S. budget deficit and federal debt are bound to grow, albeit at slower speeds than projected a year ago. These desired forecasts send an unambiguous message, sorry about that there'll be a reckoning and it will be grim. Real quick here. The only way we're going to get through this is by working together. Times are going to get tough. but we can succeed if we work together. Okay, so there you go. Unless Congress urgently changes course, Bloomberg warned the U.S. is heading towards a fiscal breakdown, given that public borrowing is expected to remain at its elevated level or higher for decades. The federal government is currently spending roughly $7 trillion and collecting only $5 trillion in taxes annually. The resulting deficit is a little over 6% of gross domestic product, a disturbingly high number for an economic around full employment. He wrote, U.S. deficits have reached record levels this decade. The founder, Bloomberg LP, criticized the proposed tax cuts repeatedly promised by U.S. President Donald Trump, as well as the import duties he is pursuing in order to restore the balance of trade. The tariffs impact on overall revenue is likely to be negative because tariffs depress commercial activity and job creation. The ongoing cost-cutting efforts of the Trump administration are unlikely to have any long-term impact on the budget, while damaging public services and angry voters who see the public parks are closed, healthcare is declining, and deaths from infectious disease are becoming more common. Savings from slashing the federal payroll won't have any applicable effect either. For all the media attention generated by the cuts to personnel and programs, and some of them are warranted, they are having almost no impact on restraining the budget deficit. Instead, the U.S. government should cautiously raise taxes, while further reducing spending and keep some pro-growth measures intact, such as a bigger standard income tax deduction and stronger investment incentives, in order to deliver substantial net reduction in projected deficits. Restoring fiscal control should be number one for this Congress. Good luck. The only sensible approach is to combine moderate tax increases and judicious cuts in spending. Spreading the burden will allow the changes to be more palatable and gradual if they're undertaken soon. Which, no, that doesn't look like the case. Now, here's the thing. There's going to be some full-blown meltdowns. And, nothing better than seeing somebody like this have a little bit of a meltdown.
Over and over again, the president said, listen, it's going to be reciprocal. So you do it, we do it. And that was going to be so good. And I really believed in it. And I feel like a sucker tonight, because I am not a free trader and I do not believe in free trade. And I was just as tough, if not tougher than his people, but they screwed it up and they did it a totally ill-advised way. And I was very let down as someone who really, truly believes that free trade is awful for the American.
Brace yourself. This is going to be him in 2007, Mr. Free Trade.
Working person. This is what they came up with. Jeez, come on, have some gumption, have some math. He has no idea.
Kramer.
I have talked to the heads of almost every single one of these firms in the last 72 hours, and he has no idea what it's like out there. None! And Bill Poole has no idea what it's like out there. My people have been in this game for 25 years, and they are losing their jobs, and these firms are going to go out of business, and he's nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
Kramer.
I have not seen it like this since I went 5 bid for 500,000 shares of Citigroup when I got hit in 1990. This is a different kind of market, and the Fed is asleep.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Bill Poole is a shame. He's shameful.
Damn, Kramer. Damn. I feel sorry for the lady there. But here's another thing about tariffs too, okay? Like, let's also talk about how Trump has been predicting a booming market, because I caught this 37-second video. I don't think we have a place in this modern world anymore, folks.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about returning here?
Well, you can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain.
But there's a flippity flip to that. You want to know what that flippity flip is? Hey, the robots are doing the jobs. Hey, the robots are doing all the work. See, yes, we're bringing back manufacturing, but if you think those small towns are going to get them, no. See, here's the thing. Growing up in Chicago, when my grandpa was still alive, he had some property out there in the great state of Michigan. Not great Michigan, great state of Indiana. I'm sorry. Great state of Indiana, right? And we would drive out there, but I'd always hear him say, I can't believe it's come to this in the 90s and then the early 2000s when we would still drive out there. He'd always say, I can't believe this. I can't believe this, as we pass by these empty warehouses and places of industry. And I remember as a kid, I asked him once, Grandpa, why are you always sad? He said, there used to be jobs here, Kit. This town used to be more alive, Kit. Things are going to get bad, Kit. I see it coming. But I know you'll be okay. And as I am older now, I'm 40, I recently did a trip out there to Indiana, and I passed by these very same places that he used to drive me as a kid. And his prediction did come true. Things are getting bad. And should those industries come back, people ain't getting those jobs. The robots will. The manufacturers will create machines to do the jobs. In this world that's being presented before us, we will own nothing and be happy. In this world that's being presented to us, we will all be serfs. This is what happens when we give our silent, obedient consent to politicians and billionaires who don't give a damn. This is what happens when we trust leaders who put on this fancy neoliberal mask and say, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I want to play another video here because we are in some tough times ahead. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says he thinks there's no chance Trump will back off on his tariffs because what could possibly go wrong? What could go wrong? What shall go wrong? I'll let you decide.
So the European Union and China, they have already vowed to retaliate. At what point would the administration consider pulling back on tariffs, especially on those 10% across the board tariffs? Where is the room for negotiation?
I don't think there's any chance that President Trump's going to back off his tariffs. This is the reordering of global trade, right? That's what's going to happen. But the world should stop exploiting the United States of America. Let our farmers sell their products. Let our ranchers sell their products. They won't take lobster in Europe or the UK. I mean, why won't they take American lobster?
Now they do. They didn't for a while, but now they do.
But they don't, because Downing Street said they're going to start with, they changed their trade policy. They're going to start having lobster dinners in Downing Street.
All right.
So that's what they told me. So the
lobster dinner. Hey, wow. You know how expensive lobster is? Jesus Christ. Tell me you're out of touch without telling me you're out of touch. Say again about lobsters. Put lobsters in the live stream chat because I think that's the closest any of us are going to see them for a while.
Their products, let our ranchers sell their products. They won't take lobster in Europe or the UK. I mean, why won't they take American lobster?
Now they do. They didn't for a while, but now they do. But
they don't, because Downing Street said they're going to start with, they changed their trade policy. They're going to start having lobster dinners in Downing Street.
All right.
So that's what they told me. So the point is, let's let American workers succeed and prosper. Let's build factories in America. Let's let us export to the world. You can't really fight with the United States. We are the customer of the world.
Yeah, customer of the world, but what about your people? We can't buy stuff anymore. Like, that's how tough things are going to get. Like, people are going to be struggling financially, emotionally, psychologically. And when somebody has no money and they become desperate, my goodness, I mean, they'll do anything to give themselves an upper. I mean, we are walking into a crisis in which I do hope we're able to walk out of. But I'm already seeing from world leaders, they're not buying into our shite as much. We got a lot of people right now calling into question just how these tariffs are right now screwing us over. Now, of course, listen, I am all for people speaking and talking to each other. But let's go ahead and pull up this other video here. All right. Now, look, I'm not a fan of these kind of videos. I'm not, especially like, where you're trying to expose somebody or make them look stupid. But, explaining tariffs to MAGA. Again, I don't know how authentic a lot of these interviews are, but here we go.
I'm voting for the man that's going to take America back, baby. Donald J. Trump, man.
What's one of your biggest issues?
It's probably going to be inflation, because I sell T-shirts and all that stuff.
Your T-shirts are made in the USA?
No, my blanks, no. See, that's the thing Trump's talking about. If we tax them, hit tariffs, the same item they're making over there will cost the same to make over here.
We pay the tariffs.
Well, the companies pay the tariffs, not us.
China doesn't pay the tariffs. We do when they come in.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like if I'm buying 1,000 shirts from China and there's a tariff on it, I'm paying the tariff.
Well, no, whoever's getting it imported in is going to pay the tariffs.
Yeah. I'm the business owner. I'm paying the tariff. China doesn't pay it. I pay for it.
Well,
And like if I'm the business owner and I buy 1,000 shirts,
I see what you're saying.
China's not Jolly. So I'm trying to
So who
explain.
pays the tariff? They're paying the tariff.
Do you think that? You believe that?
I was trying to say because I sell merch as well.
I sell you something for $10, right? You're going to sell it to him for $20.
Exactly.
But then I make you pay me $15 for it. Are you still going to sell it to him for $20?
Am I going to sell it to him for 20?
If I raise the price $5.
Oh, it's going to have to go up.
Right. So
Yeah, the consumer foots the bill.
I'm gonna give this suggestion to you right now. Go out and quickly buy groceries while you can, okay? That's just me. That's just me. But I also have one other thing I wish to share with all you lovely, beautiful, outstanding people because I love my audience. All right, one more thing here. It is from Canada. The Canadian Prime Minister had some words to America.
Take a leadership role in building a coalition of like-minded countries who share our values. We believe in international cooperation. We believe in the free and open exchange of goods, services, and ideas. And if the United States no longer wants to lead, Canada will.
We're on a long, bumpy road to rebuild our friendships and alliances with our friends and allies. I am ever hopeful that we can pull this off. But as I'm looking at the stock market right now, looking at the stonks, Trump recently says right now, as we speak, Trump says tariff policies will never change amid plunging stocks. Chinese response. President Trump insisted Friday that my policies will never change, doubling down on his aggressive tariff policies amid plummeting U.S. stock markets. To the many investors coming into the United States and investing massive amounts of money, my policies will never change. This is a great time to get rich, richer than ever before. Okay. Trump on Wednesday meted out tariffs on U.S. global trading partners, sending a shockwave through financial markets and drawing the nation into a massive trade war with affected countries, pledging retaliatory measures. Already on Friday, China said it would hit U.S. imports with a 34% tariff starting April 10th. Other major countries like the European Union are likely to follow. Hang tough, the president says. We can't lose. Hang tough, people. We're in for a bumpy ride. Keep your heads on a swivel and drink water.